All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Rich Walsh. The phone lines are open. The Borders and Borders hotline, 412-575-2600. If you need a roof, make sure you call Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. They're the best in the business. Right now, we're going to get out to the Borders and Borders hotline, and we got Al out in the West End. What's up, Al? How you doing?
Hey, Richie, it's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, man. Thanks for calling.
Let's talk Pitt basketball. You know what Pitt basketball problem is? They
just have one problem? Is that what you're saying?
They have several.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what they are. They have an administration that's incompetent. They have boosters that are delusional. When Pitt basketball was at the height, was during the Carl Krauser era. What Pitt needs to do is they run a clean program. They don't get those one-and-done players that have issues with academics, whatever. What they need to do is build their programs like those mid-majors like Gonzaga, the team that won tonight, Loyola Chicago. They need to get a coach like a Mark Few, the guy from Wichita State. Those guys are going to stick with the program. They're going to be here. Guys you never heard of. But all of a sudden they build a program, and they're going to be there for 14, 15, 16 years. They're not going to go, and they need an administration that's going to leave them alone. Let the guys stay, build a program, recruit internationally, recruit guys you're not going to leave within 2 years. Build like a Gonzaga, build like a VCU, build like those programs that you don't hear from, but all of a sudden they're going to be there every year, make the Sweet 16, make the Final Four. That's what Pitt needs to do. Stop being delusional. Stop thinking you're Duke. Stop thinking you're Kentucky. That's what Pitt needs to do.
You know, Al,
Period.
Pitt's paying their coach a top 10 salary. That's what they offered Danny Hurley. So I think they want to be in that category. I agree with you. They're not in that category. If they had some consistency over the years, Jamie Dixon, he was really reluctant with this whole ACC change, and I think that's one of the downfalls. I don't know if he was totally on board. If you had a coach and a staff that was on board from the switch to the Big East to the ACC, maybe you would have seen Pitt being able to adapt to this. Maybe going out and get a recruiter that can recruit to ACC schools. They didn't do that. And I think that's where they failed. Well, Mark Few is not going anywhere. I mean,
that's my point.
Yeah. So they need a guy. And here's
the thing,
Al, Jamie Dixon wouldn't have left here. He wouldn't have left. I felt
that's administration's fault.
Yeah,
they're incompetent.
You might be right, and maybe it's because you look at what he did the last few years. People and fans and maybe boosters. You can blame these people, and you can blame Scott Barnes. I put a lot of blame on him. But, it seemed like fans had enough of Jamie Dixon. It seemed like the marriage was getting old between Pitt and Jamie Dixon. But now all these Pitt fans want him back. But you look at the last few years, he made the NCAA tournament. They didn't really have a top team since, 2012. I know Carl Krauser was a good reference. They were good back then. But Levance Fields, that was a good era, too, for this Pitt basketball team. They needed a really good point guard, and they haven't had a good point guard since Levance Fields. I know a lot of people like Robinson. I was never really a big fan. I understand his turnover to assist ratio is really good. Big deal. He wasn't a flashy guy. I didn't think I just wasn't a big fan of him, and that's when the program started to trend the other way. It started to trend the other way when they got in the ACC, and everyone wants to blame the conference switch. I don't. I blame recruiting. I still think the ACC and the Big East was a great power conference, but the ACC is just as good of a basketball conference. And if you could compete in the Big East, you can compete in the ACC. Remember, it was a Thursday, and I remember it. I was with the Steelers in St. Louis, and it was a good. I forget what year it was. Maybe it was 12, 11, one of those years where Pitt beat Duke. And then the Steelers beat St. Louis, and the Penguins beat Boston. It was a great day in Pittsburgh. And so Pitt proved, as a Big East team, you could beat an ACC team. So why can't they recruit? I don't get that. Pittsburgh has a lot to offer. They got a really nice campus, a good facility, and you're definitely right. There's no consistency with this administration. They've changed. They've had so much turnover over the years, and I think that's the big problem. You don't have a guy in there, and deservedly so. They ran Steve Peterson out of there. I mean, he screwed up so many things that he had to go. But I think the next hire was the big problem. You get a guy in here, Scott Barnes, who, from what I was told the first couple months he was here, he was looking to get out. Now, I don't know anything about Heather Lyke, but it seems like she's looking to get out too and makes that next step. I mean, you hear the rumors that she wants this Michigan State job. I don't know anything for sure, but I'm hearing those rumors, and they need an AD. She's from Michigan. She went to Michigan, but she's from Michigan, probably has a lot of ties, and probably fits what they're looking for right now. So maybe you're going to, in a couple years after she makes this hire, they're going to be looking for another AD. Who knows?
There it is.
But here's my thing. What I'm trying, I know this, I was long-winded in getting to this point. They need to hire a Pitt guy to be the AD. And maybe not a Pitt guy to be the coach, but they need to hire a Pitt guy to be the AD. Someone that's not leaving, someone that you have some consistency with. And they haven't done that yet. And I think that's where we run into some problems. I like Pat Narduzzi. I think he's going to do some good things here. He's not planning on leaving. But going back, I don't think they should have fired Dave Wannstedt.
Thank you. Thank you.
And, Ben Howland would have never left here if it wasn't for UCLA. He left here for UCLA. Jamie Dixon was next in line, but he was like the third choice. They wanted Skip Prosser. So Jamie Dixon got the job, and Pitt eventually ran him out. I mean, I guess, 11 out of 12 NCAA tournaments wasn't good enough. Now I'm a Pitt guy, and I follow the program, and I really like Jamie Dixon, but I understand the program was trending down. But I blame a lot of that on Jamie Dixon and how he couldn't recruit and adjust to the ACC. I think with the right staff, you could have made that adjustment. If he was on board 100%, I don't think he was on board 100% going from the Big East to the ACC. Al, I really appreciate your call. Love talking about Pitt basketball. Let's go out to Bob in Beachview. How you doing, Bob? Bob, you there?
Well, Beachview?
Yep, you're up.
Yeah, geez, oh man, you answered a heck of a lot of my questions.
Okay,
the guy
good.
That called, he knew a lot. I was going to start. I've not been paying as much attention in the last year, and so just start. My question was basically they got Stallings in, and I thought he was a defensive coach.
Offensive.
Offensive. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. But okay, so now just specifically take it from when Stallings got in and tell me what he did wrong that forced him out. Now listen.
I mean, I just think there was apathy there, Bob. I mean, you go 0-19 in the ACC, you got to make a change. He was there 2 years. I know they didn't really give him a chance, but looking at the direction they're going now with this search, are you going to hire a Mark Schmidt? Or I'm not saying that they're going to, but this is a guy that they've talked to or reached out to, and he is no better than Kevin Stallings. He's the same guy essentially. So what's that going to? How do you think that that's going to turn this program around? You might as well just kept Kevin Stallings and not have to pay that $10 million buyout. So you're basically you're throwing away $10 million to hire a guy that's similar, maybe not as good of a coach. He doesn't have the credentials that even Kevin Stallings had. It just wasn't the right fit right from the start. I think a lot of fans blame Scott Barnes, not only for Jamie Dixon, but blamed him for cronyism. Getting a guy in here, the old boys network kind of thing. And I don't think fans were on board with this right from the start. And you could see what a fan base can do. Look what happened at Tennessee when basically the fan base got Greg Schiano fired before he was hired. And it seems like, the fan base is out there on social media and is critiquing everything. And that could be an issue if this administration is listening. I know they're buttoned up over there. They're pretty quiet about who they're talking to and who they've offered the job to and who they like. I do know for a fact, though, it was Dan Hurley, and that was it. They were targeting him. He was number one, far and away. Everyone else, I was told, was a distant second. So right now, they're at a distant second, but this process should have been done, I think. There should have been a press conference called or something. And there's just nothing right now. They've talked to Nate Oates, to Mark Schmidt, and maybe a couple other guys that we don't know about. But I did hear, before we go to break, I did hear that potentially they were waiting for a mid-major coach to lose. I wasn't told a name. The person couldn't tell me a name, but my guess was I was told this on Thursday, so it could have been Musselman. Not sure. Haven't heard anything after Thursday about that. But maybe he's a guy that maybe can turn things around pretty quick because he likes to get those junior college transfers in, and he's turned Nevada around, and maybe he could do it over here. So we'll talk more Pitt basketball and much more after the break. Stay right there. Back in a couple minutes.